Hold on, back on my bullshit. These niggas been hating, get hit with a full clip. They say they don't like me, they want me to hit them with something so shiesty. I said it so nicely, they don't understand why my chain is so icy. Now talk to me nice, they calling my phone saying talk to me nice. Hold on, wait. Then I hit on my jeweler.
The Yankees just split a series that was very winnable, and a lot of it had to do with starting pitching. I was not in any way, shape, or form concerned with starting pitching when the turn of the month happened, July 1st. Now, on July 11th, I think the Yankees have to start looking deep into the deadline to get an extra starter. Jameson Taillon is scaring the living crap out of me. That is 4 straight terrible starts from him. And so I found an article on The Athletic, MLB trade deadline, ranking the top 10 starting pitchers who could be traded and their best team fit. This article was made on June 21st. So this was back when the Yankees still had like a very dominant starting pitching staff. Right now, I'd say the most consistent guy over the last couple weeks has been Luis Severino. The man had one blunder, which was against the Astros, and he only gave up one bad pitch that turned into 3 runs. That's about it. So the Yankees seriously need to start looking into starting pitching, and I am going to go through this list. None of them say the Yankees are a fit, but again, this was back when the Yankees thought they had their starting pitching down pat. So I am going to say whether they are a good fit. If you enjoy this video, leave a like down below. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Let's just get up to 275 by the end of the month. Let's see if we can do that, okay? That's 7 subscribers. I think we can do it. But I'm going to go through this list, and I'm of the notion that we are not going to break the bank for a starter. That Volpe, Peraza, Dominguez, none of those guys are available for a starting pitcher. I don't think we're going that deep into the bag to go get a starter. Some of these guys on this list, the teams will be asking for those guys. I don't think that's great, but let's go through this. The number 1 pitcher on their list, Luis Castillo. The Yankees have been asking the Yankees fans have been asking Yankees front office to at least look into this trade numerous years. And I don't see it as a bad trade here. I think the Reds are really looking to lose. Luis Castillo, who's dropped that ERA a ton from when I last looked. I don't know if it's still at this ERA or if this is his career notion. But anyways, he has not had the best year, but we've seen the talent of Luis Castillo. Matt Blake seems like he is a godsend when it comes to fixing starting pitchers. This is a guy I could seriously see coming to New York. And I could see him not having the highest price tag. I would say trading them someone like Sweeney. Adding in a Gallo to match salaries. I feel like a trade like that would actually suffice for Luis Castillo because, again, maybe he has more value than that because he does have multiple years on his deal. But, yeah, he's in his final year of arbitration, so he'll have 2 more years with the Yankees, which if they go to arbitration next year, and then he'd have that year to go into free agency. So 1.5 years, really. So I think his value will be somewhere in the ballpark of where the Yankees should be looking for starting pitchers. And I think he would, on this list, he might be the most talented target. That is a possibility. Do I think the Yankees will go that far and get him? I'm not sure. Again, I don't know their in their mind what their feeling is on the necessity to get a starter. I think it's necessary to get at least one and give Tyone a little bit of a break because he is starting to fall apart. Number 2 on the list is Frankie Montas. This is a guy that I wanted them to get at the start of the season before I knew this rotation was actually going to look really good. Before this team actually was the runaway best team in the league. But at this point, 29 years old, having a pretty good year. I don't know how much is left on his deal. I think he still has a couple years left. His value might be a little bit elevated, especially higher than Castillo, just because of the age factor and the fact that he is having a pretty good year. They're the same age, but Frankie Montas just seems like he has a higher ceiling at this point. That's what I mean by age. I think his cap of where he could be as a starter has a little bit more potential right now than where Castillo is. But either way, if a Volpe, Peraza, or Dominguez is not a part of this deal, I feel like that the Yankees should be looking into a guy like Montas. Montas is the perfect guy to add into a rotation with Severino, a rotation that can grow. Because Gumby's a little up and down, but still has room to grow. Sevy, obviously, this year he's showing he's got room to grow. And I think Garrett Cole is the perfect guy there to help them grow. And so a guy like Montas would be perfect for this rotation if the price is right. That's the whole thing about these trades is the price right for these guys? I'm not in that feeling of Volpe, Peraza, don't hold on to them, go grab a starter, trade whoever. If we're going into that territory, then we're looking at way more than Montas. Let's be clear about that. And if we're trading Volpe, Peraza, those types of guys, I would rather a value of a Soto. Get Gallo out of there and get a generational player rather than a starter that can just help us this year. If that makes sense. So if the price is right, that's perfect. Pablo Lopez, here's why I like Pablo Lopez possibly coming. His price tag will not be extraordinary. He is only 26, yes. But I have a feeling his price tag will not be extraordinary. And he has a high ground ball rate. This is one thing that you need in Yankee Stadium, especially for a righty. If you're going to be a righty in Yankee Stadium, you have to make sure that you are playing to hit to the ground. If you're a fly ball pitcher, Yankee Stadium, especially against left-handed hitting, is not going to be the right place for you. One of the reasons why the Yankees thought Sonny Gray was going to be a perfect fit was that he was top 3 in success getting ground balls. Pablo Lopez is that type of player. Yes, he is young, but I think the Marlins are looking to win relatively soon. They've got a guy in Jazz that they have to build on. They've got a team right now. They've shown that they're willing to buy in. Jorge Soler they've got Jesus Aguilar in a trade before. Like, they are looking to buy. I feel like they might be more buyers than they are like trying to build buyers in terms of trying to get talent to put them over the hump than they are trying to build on prospects still. So Pablo Lopez, being a younger guy, probably still has years left on his deal. His price tag might not be the highest, probably still in that range of Montas and Castillo. I think this is a guy that the Yankees have to be looking at. Along with this next guy, Martin Perez. What a year this guy is having. I fear this guy's price is going to be too high now because of the year he's having. He is having a borderline Cy Young year. 2.10 ERA with a 2.7 WAR, only a 1.107 WHIP in 81 innings pitched. This guy has been extraordinary. I would not pay too high of a price for him, though, because he's only 31 years old. And this is only his first year having this type of success. I don't see too much value there if you're trading some of your top guys in your farm system. But again, if that value is sort of like no Peraza, no Volpe, no Dominguez, bottom like that down, I could see a world where the Yankees would look at Martin Perez based off of the year he's having. Could be a really good find for them. This one I'm not too keened in on. Kyle Freeland, only 29 years old, but this year struggling mightily. This may be one of those, like, this would be, if they got Kyle Freeland, it would be one of those Cashman finds a diamond in the rough that he only traded like a mid-level player, like a single A prospect that doesn't have any potential to make it to the majors, trades him over along with like cash, gets him over as like a project, and then Matt Blake does his magic, sort of like what happened with Clay Holmes. That's the only way I see Kyle Freeland being a good option here. He has not shown a lot, and also he is to my knowledge, he is a fly ball pitcher, which will not play well in Yankee Stadium. I don't like that deal. One deal that I do like for a guy who has a pretty high ERA, if they were going project route, is Tyler Mahle, or Mahle, however you say the name. The guy started off really rough. In June, he's picked it up a little bit, having a 1.71 ERA in June, but had ERAs of 6.45 in April and 4.48 in May. The dude is sitting at 4.46 right now. But again, this guy is also a ground ball pitcher, and his value is going to be tanked. This is a guy that if Brian Cashman is able to get this guy at the value he got Clay Holmes at, this would be a perfect guy to get. He is still relatively young at 27 years old, but also has the game to fit in Yankee Stadium. I think if Brian Cashman can pull his magic, this is a guy that Matt Blake can work with, and this is a guy that I'd be confident could flip his season around. The next guy I do not see being available. Edward Cabrera of the Marlins. The guy who made this article ranked him as the top 36 of the top 50 pitching prospects. This dude is an absolute animal. And coming up to the majors, he has not fully found his stride of being a star, but you see the potential there. This guy, if the Yankees were to look at a trade with him, it would cost a Peraza or something like that. That's how talented this dude is. I don't see him being available at all. This guy says, like, the type of players that would get a team, Edward Cabrera, would be like a Brian Reynolds or a Cedric Mullins. The Yankees are not in a position to sell like that. He is not in a position to come to Yankee Stadium. Number 8 on the list. I just hate the guy, but looking at his career, he may fit pretty well in Yankee Stadium. Madison Bumgarner. He is 32 years old now. This year he's posted a 3-6 record, 3.45 ERA with a 5 FIP in 70 1/3 innings pitched with a 1.322 WHIP. The guy is great in the postseason. I cannot deny that. And my position is I'm seeing a starting pitching acquisition as necessary for the postseason. That's what this acquisition would be. The Diamondbacks have to start looking to sell off. This is a guy that I think could possibly be perfect for the team, although it pains me because I hate him. I hate the fact that he's the fun police. Like, one of my favorite players in Major League Baseball over the past 10 years has been Yasiel Puig. And the fact that he was policing Yasiel from bat flipping, it really rubbed me the wrong way. So that's why I have a disdain for Madison Bumgarner. But strictly on the field, this acquisition would actually be really good for the postseason, knowing how well he does perform there. He has experience, and he's performed well in those experiences. So another guy that, again, I wouldn't break the bank for, but that's a guy I could definitely watch out for, because that's a guy Brian Cashman will probably be targeting. Next pitcher is Merrill Kelly from the Diamondbacks. This is a pitcher I don't see the Yankees going after. Again, if they're going after a pitcher from the Diamondbacks, I think it will be Madison Bumgarner. They're just same team. I don't see them going into a negotiation with the Diamondbacks and not saying we want Madison Bumgarner just for the experience factor. Merrill Kelly he's not young, but he has not had as many postseason experiences. He has not shined the way Madison Bumgarner has in his career. So I feel like a Madison Bumgarner trade is probably the most likely out of the Diamondback set. And then finally, a guy that was on my list at the beginning of the season, Kyle Hendricks. I could see this being another one of those Matt Blake projects where you have to revitalize his career, because this year he has had a horrible year. 2-6 with a 5.43 ERA, 5.19 FIP in 68 innings pitched with a 1.353 WHIP. It's not looking good for Kyle Hendricks. But in terms of projects, that's the type of guy that Matt Blake can remold into a better pitcher. I like the projects that were ahead of him, but if they are worth too much for some reason, like a Maile or someone like that, if they're worth too much for some reason and Kyle Hendricks is actually like relatively cheap, go after Hendricks, because that's a project I could see working out. So there you have it. This was all from an article from The Athletic. I will leave the link in the description if I remember. Go check it out. You could see the teams that they had the teams that they said would be the best fit for these pitchers. I was more just comparing it to what fit they would be in New York. So if you enjoyed this video, leave a like down below. If you're new here, hit that sub button. I'm on my way to 1,000 subs before the postseason. I need your help to get there. It is coming on quick, and we need to start getting progress on this. If we get to that 1,000, there's a big surprise coming. So hit that sub button, and I'm out of here. Peace.